Good morning, I'm Ranger Dave and this is West Valley Rule. Can you hear those birds singing? This is great. Can you believe the rains we're getting this year? This is awesome. I haven't seen such a wet winter, especially last winter was awful. I mean, it just was dry, and now this year we're getting the snow. People are going up for the snow. We're getting the rains, and that's going to give you. I'm going to get into a project that might be coming up potentially if we get the temps just right. We've got the moisture. We need to go in the spring get the temps just to hit just right. Everybody's kind of familiar with Arizona and the Southwest deserts and our famous wildflowers. Well, you always get some wildflowers, but you don't always get a full statewide bloom, okay? And that if you've moved, the best statewide bloom that I can remember, and I'm a lifer here, was 2005. And if you've moved here to the state after 2005, you don't know what you're missing. Well, it seems to me that it's potentially setting up for a similar bloom. Possibly. No guarantees, but you want to be ready. So today we're going to be talking about wildflowers, and particularly a project you can do with the kids if we do get that full statewide bloom. Or, again, if we don't, there are places to go find wildflowers. Okay, so we're going to talk about wildflowers and what to do with them. Okay, and it could be a really good, potentially science fair project for your kids, something along that line. So let's get on it. Well, welcome back into the library. Now, before we get into the wildflower end of it, where would you locate wildflowers? Granted, what if we don't get a full bloom? Which I really think we stand a real good chance of getting a full bloom. But if you don't, there are always places to find wildflowers in the state. And pretty much every year, Arizona Highways puts out a wildflower issue. This one's from 2015. And essentially they go over different places of best places and best chances to find wildflowers. Then you need to be able to identify those wildflowers. Okay, now there are a number of wildflower books out there. Everybody's going to have their favorite, but this one was my favorite. Nat Dodge, written by Nat Dodge, Flowers of the Southwest. Now, what I really liked about this book was it's kind of color coded based upon when you're looking at the various colors of the flowers. Are you looking at a yellow flower, or are you looking at a red flower? So you just go to that area, okay? And that just would help you quick identification. Good pictures. A lot of background at the bottom there on each individual flower. And it does have color pages as well. So it made for real easy identification. Granted, everybody's going to have their own favorite book. This was mine, Wildflowers of the Southwest Deserts by Nat Dodge, and we've used it often. In fact, we use it so much as one of those books where your pages are falling out. Next, now that you've gathered all your wildflowers, again, this is an easy peasy project to do. Next, what you need is ream of paper. Okay. Now, granted, you're going to be dealing with flowers. Okay. What do flowers have? Pollen. Okay. Now, if you got somebody in the family that is just has allergies, yeah, this might be a project that you need to do on a back porch. But essentially, you just put your flowers in between the pages. You just stack it, okay? And then stack after stack after stack, layer after layer, and then put usually piece of plywood, maybe a brick. So again, don't make them too high. We did that mistake once and had a whole stack of them fall over. It was a pollinated mess. Then we had to do it all again. So just make it so high, depending on how many you gather. press them, put some weight on it, and change those papers every few days. You got to remember that these flowers have a lot of moisture in them, and you're essentially trying to extract the moisture. And you're not going to do it all at once. This is not a process that's going to happen in a day, maybe a week. This is a project that's gonna take a few days, because this is what you're going for. Okay, I got some samples up here. The best, and I think maybe I mentioned it, maybe I didn't. The one of the best years, Arizona in the Southwest has these awesome flower years where you just get the right amount of rain and the right amount of heat at the right time, and you can have a statewide bloom. Granted, you're always going to have some somewheres, and you go to the parks to see along the trails, see them in the easements and the freeways, see all the color there. But on a rare occasion, you got a statewide bloom. I mean, they're everywhere, and it's just absolutely breathtaking. The last time those conditions, I think, if I didn't mention it, was back in 2005, and 2010 wasn't bad either. But if you've moved to Arizona, after 2005, you've never seen a full statewide bloom. You might have seen some nice flower areas, but you haven't seen nothing yet. In fact, you got to be a long-termer here to know what I'm talking about. So anyhow, after you've done pressed those flowers, this is what you wind up. Again, these flowers, I still got them in a box on the back porch, and these flowers are from 2005. Look how fragile. I think that's a zinnia. And then look at that one. Again, these flowers are from 2005. Could get the book out and get the numbers. I know some just are easy. That's a lupine. Look how paper thin that is. This is what you're trying to squish down to. Take all that moisture out. And again, layer after layer. Every few days, change out the paper. Some will be a little bit thicker than, because some have a little bit more bulk. This is globe mallow. Again, look how thick that is. That flower has a little bit more moisture to it. And let's see. This is brittle bush. This is the one you see a lot of times in the freeways, the easements. That yellow flower that just seems on this bush. That's the flower right there. Brittle bush. So then, what do you do? Some of it's just scientific fun for the kids, learning to identify. Again, this is a great project for the kids, preferably if they have no allergies, of course. Okay, so you press them down. Then what do you do with them? Okay, well, you get laminate paper or laminate pages. Okay, and you laminate them. You can do different pages. I'll show you a book that we did in a sec. But you can do, get some colored paper, maybe make some cards, seasonal cards, or bookmarks. Bookmarks are popular. What we did in 2005, we made a book. We took it to a kind of a fun and a higher level. That's from 2000. That's my daughter in 2005. And we wandered all over the desert. We made some family trips. And I used that book. And we did pages. Kind of identifying pages. I used the information from that book that I showed you. Phacelia. Oh, I remember Phacelia, man. That stuff. It's called stinkweed, scorpionweed. Oh, it smells awful. And we just had fun putting Phacelia in each other's faces. Yeah. Again, some of these flowers do not smell pretty. So if you got anybody's sensitivities, make sure you do this project on your back porch. Different flower, sage, and essentially then we took it to the state fair. And we entered it into the state fair, and Ruby walked away with one of these for the first time. I was told that we were runner-ups for the best of show for the entire fair by the ladies, but they couldn't believe that it was a 5-year-old project. And then back in 2010, again, we had another good bloom. Not as good as 2005, but another good bloom. And I just added some pages in the back. Made the book a little bit, yeah. That's yeah, lupine. No, I think that's lupine. Yeah, just pages from 2005. And then he had a good. I did pages showing. Yep, she was the one that was doing a lot of the work, picking the flowers, marching around the desert. And then we wound up, essentially, we went to the Desert Botanical Gardens and just look at the flowers that they had there. And I just carried on a conversation with this lady, and I did not know that she happened to be one of the directors for the Desert Botanical Gardens. And I whipped up, I just pulled the book out of the backpack and showed her, and she goes, "You're coming with me." And so they took us to the research center that they have there. And Ruby got to sign in as a visiting researcher, got to play, go through the drawers with some of the researchers, the on-staff researchers have there. It was a great day, and a very memorable day. And yeah, so this can be a fun project. It can be a science project. If your kid's looking for something for the science fair at their school, there you go. I mean, we're setting up for potentially a really good bloom with the rain that we've had. And if we get the temperatures just right, now again, there's going to be flowers wherever you want to go in there to the state. You're going to find some flowers, but we are potentially setting up for a really awesome bloom. And I didn't come up with this project myself. Back in 2005, it was a school teacher that essentially told me the same thing that I'm telling you right now. And I took her advice, and we had the most memorable spring and a project that we will always talk about. So that's why I'm doing this for you, because I'm going to kick it forward to other young parents that if you were looking for a project perfect for a young child to really stand out at a science fair, or to learn about the state, see some of the state, collect flowers, and do a little bit of science, make some seasonal cards, this is a project for you. So I hope you take that in mind. Maybe kick it to some other friends that might be thinking about it. And if, might be doing it myself again this year. We shall see. Well, I hope you found that interesting, and maybe you now have an idea of a potential project for the kids, maybe for a science fair or something like that, or maybe for yourself. I mean, you never know. And I really do hope we get that statewide bloom. That would be awesome. But regardless, go find those we've got some really good rain, so if it's not statewide, we're still going to have some really awesome areas to go see wildflowers this year. And I really hope, especially for the new residents, that you take advantage of it. If we've got a good bloom, just take advantage of it. Do some family trips. Go see it. These things are just a thing of beauty when you see a slope just covered in yellow and purple. It's just something you just got to see, take pictures. Well, we'll see you next time on West Valley Rural, and this is Ranger Dave, and have a wonderful day and have a great spring ahead. See you next time.